الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم ومننا مؤمنات. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this a blessed night for all of us, Eve of Friday, Laylatul Jumu'ah, night of forgiveness, purification, return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us as His guests and accept our repentance and answer our prayers, inshaAllah. And also let us remember on this night, Laylatul Jumu'ah, our marhumeen, those who passed away from our family members, ancestors, loved ones, community members. Inshallah, we remember them and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant them mercy and rewards of what was recited and what is to be recited, inshallah, tonight. Very brief, we'll keep it, inshallah, as usual on Thursday nights. The discussion that we started on Akhlaq and Islamic ethics. And when we speak of Islamic ethics, we got to understand that it is a journey of purification. Tazkiyah and Akhlaq go hand in hand. If we don't better ourselves, if we don't try to improve in our Akhlaq day in, day out, then we are no different to other creatures, including animals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, that they live on their natural instincts, on the fitrah. So they have to hunt, they go hunting. They have to eat, they eat. They have to mate, they mate. Whatever it is, they feel the need for it, they go for it. They don't have any kind of specific rules and etiquettes and what we call ethics and morals. That is specific to humans. And humans learn to have those ethics and morals and etiquettes and these adab and akhlaq. As humans, we learn to have those generation through generation, from parents to children, and we specifically learned them and had leaps in akhlaq. What I mean by leap is a huge jump when we had certain divine figures who came and helped humanity and brought them out of darkness into the light of being a decent human being a purified human being who is connected to a higher being, connected to a higher world, not just living for the sake of the basic needs, food and drink and so on, and other physical needs. So when we had prophets and their successors, the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, they helped humanity have those great leaps in their path of purification or towards purification, and in their ethics and morals, in their akhlaq. Therefore, when we gather and speak of akhlaq, we need to understand that, number one, we all should be improving in our akhlaq day in, day out. It should never stop. If we ever think that we are perfect and we're good, there's nothing I need to fix about myself, that is our self-destruction mode. There is a hadith from Imam Ali alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He says, رِضَاكَ عَنْ نَفْسِكَ فَسَادُ عَقْلِكَ. To be pleased with yourself, you're destroying your intellect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a defect of your intellect basically, to be pleased with yourself. There's now, we've got to mention what's going on in today's world as well. There is a concept of affirmations. I don't know if you've you're familiar with it or if you've heard it. And the whole idea behind it is to, they say, love yourself, appreciate yourself, love your qualities. And so they even have training sessions. One of them, I was told, you stand before the mirror and start the eyes, start building your ego. Okay, according to them, it's basically part of what we need. And I mean, there is some merit in what they're saying, but they're missing half the picture. So you stand before the mirror and you start saying, I am great, I am beautiful, I am this, I am that. Okay, so maybe they're lacking something and they are making up for it. Or maybe they're helping people in general make up for some lack of self-confidence or self-respect or whatever it may be. However, the right way of having affirmations as a Muslim, as a believer, and as a human being who doesn't want to become arrogant and say, I am the greatest God, because that's eventually the result of I. Fir'aun says, Ana rabbukumul a'la, I am your greatest God. If you don't control your nafs, if you try boosting it, if you continue boosting yourself, boasting about yourself, eventually there's nothing. It's in some dialect in Lebanese, they say, Ya ard ishtaddi, oh earth, be strong, nobody's as strong as I am walking on you. In other words, there's nothing, no one like me. This kind of mentality is not a mentality of a humble person who wants to purify and gain nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, the right way of affirmations and the right way of, in fact, bettering ourselves day in, day out is to realize that we are nothing in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And through Him then we can be beautiful, because He created us and He creates beauty. Through Him then we can be great and successful and able to do things and powerful through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's how it should be for a believer, for a Muslim. And we should never be pleased with ourselves to think, I'm perfect. This affirmations, we need to be careful about them. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, رضاك عن نفسك, if you're pleased with yourself and I'm perfect, then you are destroying your intellect. You're not allowing your intellect to help you grow bigger and become better. If you say, this is perfect, there's nothing I can do about me, fix about me, I'm perfect, or I'm happy with how I am. And this is a problem that often people have. This is a disease that many people have. Many of us may have it and not utter it. Some actually say it. There's nothing I need to change about me. I'm perfect. Normally you hear these things in fact in marital relationships and conflicts. You try and tell the partners that you both need to improve and change. And oftentimes one of them would say, no, I'm perfect. There's nothing I need to change. The other one has to. And maybe the other one doesn't say it, but that's what they think, Allahu A'lam. Nonetheless, we all need to realize that we have to become better. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells His messenger, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidul Khalq. He is the best man who walked on earth. He tells him, وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. Say, my Lord, increase in my knowledge. Knowledge for what? For action. Because ilm without amal is useless. It's a burden. Knowledge to act on it and become better. So even the Prophet ﷺ was constantly aspiring to become better and better. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt and all of Awliya Allah, and anyone who has a good mind and some wisdom, they would be trying to better themselves. So we all are supposed to be bettering ourselves on a daily basis, realizing that there is room. And how do we better ourselves? Reflect on the words of the perfect ones. Reflect on the life of the perfect ones. We have great examples. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declares that you have in the messenger a great example. We have great examples in the Imams of Ahlul Bayt salawatullah wa salamu alayhim ajma'een. Isn't the Prophet enough? Yes, the Prophet is enough. However, we have more examples because of the fact that the Imams of Ahlul Bayt lived in different circumstances. The family of Rasulullah and the entire family and the Imams of Ahlul Bayt after the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning the Ashabul Kisa, those each individual in their position played a great example for us. And therefore, for us to improve, we look at their words and the way they live their lives, and we should be improving on a daily basis. We spoke about the importance of purification and tazkiyah and improving in one's akhlaq. We spoke of the way. In the following weeks, in the last few weeks, some of you may have realized I used some parts of Dua Kumail, in fact, in order to reflect on akhlaq of a abd. Dua Kumail is a great example of the ethics of a servant. Ultimately, the most important and the highest position that we should be striving towards and working hard to achieve is to be a abd. Some of you may recall and realize that every time we do salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after our salat, we declare him to be abd and then Rasul. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. The maqam al-ubudiyya, the status of being a real servant. And akhlaq al-abd, the good ethics and morals of being a servant of God, examples in Dua Kumail. One of the examples is to realize, and I want to share this inshallah tonight, and in the next few weeks I want to focus on some of the words of Imam Ali alayhi salam in Nahj al-Balagha regarding akhlaq. However, tonight, another part of Dua Kumail, which is a great lesson for all of us, through which the Imam teaches us how to be a abd, how to be a servant in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كيف نكون عبادا لله. How do I become a good servant of God? A good servant of God realizes that there is nothing better for them and nothing beyond the master. Basically, a relationship of a master and servant, realizing that all that matters is the master. Even when I am desperate and I want to call upon the master, I call upon him through his position. وَأَتَوَسَّلُ إِلَيْكَ. This line I want you to focus on. وَأَتَوَسَّلُ إِلَيْكَ. With what? بربوبيتك. أتوسل إليك. First of all, begging who? Atawassal is basically finding means to talk to somebody, to get to somebody. Okay? And this is, it's to seek wasila. Okay? It is used in Arabic, basic Arabic, it is used as a term of begging. begging in any way possible. I don't know if you've seen in some countries, in order to get some emotions from people, beggars, they have a child and sometimes they make him cry. They carry these children. I've seen some of them that they even smack the children. Okay, they have the older brother, for example, and a little girl, and he's hitting her. And then she's coming and begging. And you'd ask them why, and it's like she's not doing good. And it's all a show, basically. The whole thing is a show. They are, I mean, they are poor, not in the material sense, they're poor in the real sense. Because if they turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forget about these people passing by and trying to do something to get their attention and beg them and have something from them. Turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَتَوَسَّلُ إِلَيْكَ. So this is one. But through what? بِرُبُوبِيَّتِكَ. Realizing that you are the Rabb, the Master. أنت المولى وأنا العبد وهل يرحم العبد إلا المولى. Another dua from Imam Hussein, Imam Amir al-Mu'minin, Imam Ali alayhi salam. Munajat Amir al-Mu'minin salawatullah wa sallam. Mawlaya ya mawlaya. You are my master. I seek anything and I turn to you and I beg you and seek means to you through what? بِرُبُوبِيَّتِكَ. The Imam is teaching you and I to recognize the position of the Creator, of the Master, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That He is the Master and I am the servant. Recognizing that is part of Akhlaq of Abd. How do I ask Him? Again, in line with the Master. Ya Allah, I come to ask you how. متذلل خاشع خضوع خاضعان in the dua. Meaning what? Completely humble. Because I've recognized you to be the Master, I know as a servant I should be humble. So I humble myself, again like a beggar. I turn only to you. I see nothing else. أتوجه إليك. I turn to you, nothing else. I see nothing and nobody, only you. I extend my hands, the hands of a beggar, only to you, Ya Allah. I humble myself before you. In this dua, the Imam is teaching us to recognize the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Master. Once you recognize Him as the Master, you act as a servant. Oftentimes, we act in a way that in Farsi we say talabkar. It's as if, God owes us something. And that is why when something goes wrong, what do? We start questioning Him, yeah? When things don't go the way we want it to go, yeah? We start, why? What does He owe you something? God, why me? These kind of questions. We start questioning. Why is this happening to me? I prayed, I tried to be good. Somebody a while ago messaged me and was very disappointed. In the last 2 years, I've been trying to pray. I was away. I didn't pray before. I didn't fast, but I tried to become better. And I'm trying my best to, yet everything that could go wrong is going wrong for me. It's like, I didn't say it in that way, but does God owe you something? And you're doing Him some favors now? We're praying and fasting. I'm doing God some favors. Now He owes me back. Come on, pay me back now. I've been praying. No, realize that He is the Master and you are the servant. He owes you nothing. Absolutely nothing. He gave you life through His mercy and kindness. He nurtured you. Again in Dua Kumail we see this line of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took care of me. You and I were taken care of before we even knew who we are and what we are. Before we knew our names, before we even came into this world. He took care of us. And He fed us. You know, when we're in the mother's womb, who's feeding us? Why is the mother carrying us? Why isn't she getting rid of this burden? Isn't it a burden? And feeding and nurturing and doing all the things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took care of all of that. And He doesn't owe you anything. He is not just a master. He is the kindest. He is the most merciful. He is the most loving. He is the most honorable master that is doing everything for us. Therefore, I never question. I realize that He is the master and I am His servant. He has taken care of me and He will continue taking care of me. Even then the asking becomes different. I often tell people, and that's my last word for tonight, I often tell people, don't give God direction when you ask Him. You know, Laylatul Jum'ah, ask God, but don't give directions. Don't be the master, don't be the driver, don't be the wise one. Realize that He knows better. So ask Him for what's best. Don't give directions. That's it. This is what I want. And when it doesn't happen, I'm disappointed. Why? No. Realize that He is the loving, kind, wise master. Whatever He does is for the best. And ask Him as a humble servant. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as His humble servants to grant us knowledge, grant us wisdom, grant us the opportunity to purify and become better servants and better humans. We ask Him to make us amongst those who listen to what's said and follow what's best. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
جزاك الله.
چنده؟